The crystal caverns echoed with worried voices. 12 ancient dragons sat in a circle, their scales shimmering under the glow of floating light crystals. These were the council elders, and today they faced a truth that terrified them more than any war or plague. Ashvara spread her golden wings, and silence fell. She was the oldest among them, having lived for 6 centuries. Her voice carried the weight of that long existence. 3 generations, she said simply. 3 generations without a single viable heir. Our genetic line fades like embers in the wind. A younger dragon named Crimson shifted his massive red body. He commanded the military forces and preferred action to endless debate. Then we adapt. Other species have overcome similar challenges. Adapt how? Granite rumbled from across the circle. His gray scales looked like carved stone. We are dragons. We do not beg other species for solutions. Before the argument could grow heated, alarms rang through the caverns. A technician dragon rushed in, wings flapping frantically. Elders, we detected an object drifting in System Epsilon Quadrant. It appears to be an escape pod. HFY Stock. Survivors? Unclear. The pod is old, possibly decades adrift. But life signs show one occupant. Very small. Crimson was already moving toward the exit. I will lead the retrieval team. The escape pod floated among the stars like a broken toy. Its hull was scarred and burned, telling stories of whatever disaster had set it loose so long ago. Crimson's team approached carefully, magnetic grapples extending from their rescue ship. Inside the pod, they found something unexpected. A human child slept in a cryo chamber, small and fragile. The child could not have been more than 4 years old. Frost covered the glass, and ancient human symbols glowed faintly on nearby panels. By the sacred fires, one of the rescue team whispered, "A human youngling. Out here alone." Crimson studied the pod's markings. He recognized them from old galactic records. These symbols matched the colony ship Wanderer. It vanished 30 years ago with 3,000 humans aboard. No trace was ever found. Until now, another team member said quietly, they brought the pod back to Pyros for their homeworld. Silverscale, the dragon healer, oversaw the careful process of waking the child from cryosleep. The council gathered to watch, curious despite themselves. The child's eyes opened slowly. Any other youngling would have screamed at the sight of enormous dragons looming overhead. This one simply stared, taking in the strange new world with quiet observation. Silverscale ran her scanner over the small human body. Remarkable. The child survived conditions that would have killed most adult species. The cryopod was damaged, operating at barely 40% efficiency for who knows how long. Can you determine gender or name? Ashvara asked. The pod's records are corrupted. No identification remains. But I found something else. Silverscale displayed her readings. This child has an unusually adaptive genetic structure. I have never seen anything like it in humans or any other species. Granite snorted smoke from his nostrils. A curiosity, nothing more. We should contact the human colonies and return this foundling to its own kind. Perhaps, Ashvara said slowly. She moved closer to the child, lowering her massive golden head. The human showed no fear, just reached out one tiny hand and touched her scaled snout. The child laughed. The sound was pure and joyful, echoing through the somber council chambers. It was the first laughter heard in those halls in many years. Crimson felt something stir in his warrior heart. What if Granite is wrong? What if this is not mere curiosity? Explain, Ashvara commanded, though her ancient eyes already gleamed with understanding. The old prophecy, Crimson said, when the fire dims, a spark from distant shores shall kindle the future. We dismissed it as poetic legend. But what if you cannot be suggesting we raise an alien child? Granite stood, his bulk blocking the light. This breaks every tradition we hold sacred. Silverscale stepped forward. Our traditions are leading us to extinction. This child survived the impossible. There is something special here, something we do not yet understand. Ashvara studied the small human, who had curled up against Crimson's foreclaw, like it was the most natural thing in the world. The dragon warrior, who had fought in countless battles, gently adjusted his position to make the child more comfortable. "We vote," HFY declared. "Do we return this foundling to the human colonies, or do we raise this child as our own? If the youngling survives our way of life and proves worthy, we name them heir to our empire." The debate raged for hours. Traditions clashed with desperation. Pride fought against practical need. Finally, the vote was called. 8 dragons chose to take the risk. 4, including Granite, refused. That HFY announced the decision to all gathered. "We have nothing left to lose and perhaps everything to gain. This child will be raised in our ways. We will teach them our language, our history, our values. When they come of age, we will see if a human can truly become dragon." Crimson lifted the child gently in his claws. "The youngling needs a name." Silver Scale studied the small face, now sleeping peacefully. "Kai." It means fire in one of the old human languages, and beginning in another. It seems appropriate. "Kai," HFY repeated. "Welcome to your new home, little spark. May you kindle a future we cannot yet imagine." Granite left the chamber in disgust, his heavy footsteps echoing. But the others remained, watching the human child sleep among dragons. They had made their choice. Now they would see if hope was stronger than tradition, if adaptation could triumph over extinction. The twin suns set over Pyro's 4, painting the volcanic landscape in shades of orange and red. In the crystal caverns, a new story began. A human child and an alien race, bound together by chance and desperate need, taking their first steps into an uncertain future. 5 years had transformed everything. Kai ran through the warrior halls, smaller than every other student, but faster than most. The obstacle course stretched ahead, designed for creatures with wings and fire breath. The human child had neither. A dragonling named Flare swooped overhead, using flight to clear a gap that Kai had to swing across using ropes. Another student, Cole, simply burned through a wall of ice that Kai needed to climb around. They finished minutes before the human, laughing as they crossed the final line. Kai arrived last, breathing hard but grinning. "Next time I will beat you both." "You always say that, scaleless one," Cole teased, though without real malice. 5 years of training together had built respect, if not always friendship. Crimson watched from the training ground's edge. The massive red dragon had become Kai's guardian and teacher. He remembered the first year, when some dragons whispered that the human would not survive a single season. They had been wrong. Kai had adapted in ways that surprised everyone. Unable to fly, the child learned to climb anything. Without natural armor, Kai studied strategy and timing. Dragon younglings relied on strength and instinct. The human used tools and planning that in the learning chambers. HFY taught history and diplomacy. Her lessons covered thousands of years and hundreds of species. Kai absorbed everything, asking questions that made the ancient dragon think in new ways. "Why did the singing wars last so long?" Kai asked one afternoon, studying a holographic display of an old conflict. "Because neither side would compromise," HFY explained. The melodic chorus and the silent ones had fundamental differences in communication, but they were fighting over the same territory, Kai said, tilting head in that thoughtful way humans did. Could they not share it? One group in the day, one at night? The chorus needs light to sing, and the silent ones prefer darkness anyway. HFY blinked slowly. In 3,000 years of studying that war, no dragon scholar suggested such a simple solution. Is it because dragons see sharing as weakness? Kai asked innocently. The question hung in the air. HFY could have been offended. Instead, she laughed, a sound like distant thunder. "Perhaps, young one. Perhaps we do." Not everyone appreciated these new perspectives. Granite's faction grew more vocal as Kai's influence spread. They saw tradition eroding, their proud culture diluted by alien ideas. One evening, Granite confronted HFY in the council chambers. "The human teaches our younglings to question everything. This is not the dragon way. The dragon way was leading us to extinction," HFY replied calmly. Kai offers us something we lost, the ability to see beyond ourselves. At what cost? Our identity. Ashvara gestured to a nearby display. Look, Kai introduced the concept of written records beyond oral tradition. Now our history is preserved in ways that cannot be forgotten. The human taught us new training methods that reduce injuries by 30%. These things make us stronger, not weaker. Granite left unsatisfied, but Ashvara knew the old dragon's concerns were not entirely wrong. Change was dangerous, but so was staying the same. Kai felt the tension growing. Some dragons welcomed the human heir. Others saw only an outsider who did not belong. The child learned to navigate both groups carefully, showing respect for tradition while quietly introducing new ideas. Silverscale helped in ways both medical and emotional. She developed supplements that helped Kai's human body withstand the rigorous dragon training. She also listened when the child felt overwhelmed by the pressure of being different. Do you ever wish you were dragon? Silverscale asked one day during a checkup. Kai considered the question seriously. Sometimes. Flying would be amazing, and fire breath would help with the cold mountain exercises. But being human lets me see things differently. Crimson says that is valuable too. The healer smiled, a gentle expression on her scaled face. Wise words for one so young. That wisdom was tested when the survival exercise began. Kai and 5 dragonlings were taken to the volcanic mountains north of the Crystal Caverns. They had 3 days to return home, using only what they could carry. The dragonlings could fly short distances and hunt with fire. Kai packed carefully, water purification tablets, rope, basic tools, and a detailed map drawn from memory of old lessons. On the second day, disaster struck. A lava tube collapsed, separating the group. Flare, the youngest dragonling, fell into a ravine and injured his wing. Without flight, he was trapped. The other dragonlings wanted to continue and send help later. We cannot reach him safely, one argued. Better to get assistance from adults. Kai looked down at Flare, who tried to be brave, but was clearly frightened. The human remembered being scared and alone in that cryopod, drifting through empty space. You go ahead, Kai told the others. I will stay with Flare. That is foolish, Cole said. You will fail the exercise. Maybe, but I will not leave him alone. It took Kai 6 hours to reach Flare using rope and careful climbing. The young dragon was amazed. Why did you come? I called you Scaleless One. I was not kind to you. You were scared of what I represent, Kai said, checking the injured wing. I understand fear. Now let me help you home. Together, they made slow progress. Kai fashioned a splint from volcanic rock and flexible vines. They moved at night when the temperature was cooler, rested during the burning day. Kai shared limited water supplies and used human knowledge of healing to ease Flare's pain. They arrived at the Crystal Caverns last, long after the others. Kai expected punishment for failing the exercise. Instead, Flare told the council everything, his voice filled with gratitude and shame. Granite stepped forward, ready to declare Kai's failure. But Ashvara raised one golden claw for silence. Do you know the true purpose of the survival exercise? She asked Kai. To test our ability to endure hardship, the child replied. No, it tests character. Every generation, we design an exercise that presents a choice between personal success and helping others. Most dragon heirs throughout history chose glory over compassion. You chose correctly without hesitation. Kai looked shocked. It was a test of kindness. The most important test, Ashvara said. Strength without compassion creates tyrants. You have shown us what we had forgotten. Even Granite fell silent, though his expression remained troubled. The human child had succeeded where dragon tradition had wanted failure. What did that say about their proud race? Flare approached Kai afterwards. Thank you for saving me. I was wrong about you. You have more dragon heart than many with scales. Kismilet, and you have more courage than you knew. We make each other better. Word of the rescue spread through the dragon halls. More younglings began to see Kai not as an outsider, but as one of them. The human who chose compassion over victory had earned something precious, genuine respect. But beyond Pyro's 4, in the vast galaxy, others were beginning to hear about the dragon's human heir. and not all of them were pleased. The distress signal came during evening meditation. Kai sat among the dragonlings, practicing the breathing techniques that helped focus the mind. The emergency klaxon shattered that peace. Crimson burst into the chamber, his scales gleaming with urgency. Station Gamma 7 is under attack. Raiders hit the civilian sector. The council authorized military response. Kai stood immediately. I want to help. The red dragon's eyes narrowed. This is not training, young one. Real combat means real danger. I know, but I am supposed to be heir to the Dragon Empire. How can I lead if I have never seen what we protect? After intense debate, Ashvera granted permission. Kai would accompany the rescue mission aboard the warship Eternal Flame, but only as an observer under Crimson's direct protection. The journey through hyperspace took 6 hours. Kai spent that time studying everything about Station Gamma 7. It was a trade hub where dozens of species lived and worked together. Merchants, families, travelers, all gathered in one massive structure orbiting a quiet star. When they arrived, the station was dark. Sections vented atmosphere into space. Ships bearing the markings of Krell raiders circled like predators. Crimson assembled his strike team. 20 dragon warriors, each a veteran of countless battles. They would board the station, secure survivors, and drive out the raiders. Stay close to me, Crimson told Kai. Do not engage enemies. Your job is to observe and learn. The boarding was violent. Krell raiders were brutal fighters, caring nothing for honor or mercy. They saw only profit in stolen goods and captured slaves. Dragon warriors met them with overwhelming force, scales deflecting projectile weapons, fire breath clearing corridors. Kai followed Crimson through the chaos, staying low and out of direct combat. The human carried no weapon except a small medical kit, knowing that fighting was not the mission here. In a damaged residential section, they found refugees huddling in fear. Dozens of aliens cowered as dragons entered, their size and power terrifying even when they came to rescue. But a small creature, cat-like with large eyes, whimpered in the corner. Its parent had been separated during the attack. The youngling was too scared to move, too frightened of the massive dragons to accept their help. Kai approached slowly, crouching down to appear less threatening. Hey there, I know you were scared, but these dragons are here to help. I promise. The youngling stared at the human in confusion. You are with them? But you are small like me. I am, and they protect me just like they will protect you. What is your name? Whisper. I'm Kai. Will you let me help you find your parent? Whisper. The small alien nodded, taking Kai's hand. Together, they moved through the group of refugees, the human's presence making the dragons seem less frightening. Other aliens began to relax when they saw Kai working alongside the warriors. While helping evacuate survivors, Kai noticed something odd. Human-made technology was integrated into the station systems, but it was old, mismatched with the current infrastructure. Crimson, Kai called. Look at this access panel. These are human designs from before I was born. Why would they be here? The dragon examined the panel. Unknown. But you are right. This technology should not be present on a Thoughtweaver-built station. Before they could investigate further, alarms blared. The Krell had set demolition charges throughout the station. They planned to destroy everything, killing refugees and dragons together. Evacuate now. Crimson roared. Get everyone to the ships. But Kai was studying the human technology. Something familiar called to the child, memories of the cryopod and its ancient systems. Human engineering had certain patterns, certain logic that transcended time. Wait, Kai said. I think I can access the station's core systems through this panel. There is no time. There has to be. All those people cannot evacuate fast enough. Kai's fingers flew across the interface, remembering lessons about human technology from old database records. The system was encrypted, but human encryption followed predictable mathematics. The child had studied such things out of curiosity, never imagining they would be needed one by one. Kai bypassed security protocols. The station systems came online under human command. I am in, Kai said. I can see the demolition charges. They are linked to a central detonator. Can you disable them? No, but I could do something else. Kai pulled up the station's environmental controls. I can create vacuum in specific sections. The explosive detonation needs oxygen. Without it, most charges will fail. Crimson understood immediately. Do it. Kai's plan was risky. Opening airlocks would expose some areas to space, but the Krell were concentrated there anyway. The human carefully mapped where raiders gathered versus where refugees hid, then began opening strategic sections. Alarms wailed as atmosphere vented. Krell raiders found themselves gasping in vacuum, their weapons useless, their demolition plan failing. Dragon warriors used the confusion to press their advantage, driving the surviving raiders back to their ships. The battle ended quickly after that. Krell ships fled rather than face dragons in open space. Station Gamma 7 was saved, damaged but intact. Kai helped reunite Whisper with their parent, then collapsed against a wall. The adrenaline faded, leaving the child shaking with exhaustion and delayed fear. Crimson sat beside his young charge. You saved many lives today. That was clever thinking. I was terrified the whole time, Kai admitted. Good. Fear keeps you careful. But you acted despite it. That is courage. As they prepared to return home, Crimson's team investigated the Krell ships they had captured. What they found was troubling. Data core showed the raid was not random. Someone had hired the Krell specifically to test dragon response times. Even more concerning, they found a partial message. The human child changes the calculation. Monitor and report. Someone in the galaxy was watching Kai. Someone who saw the dragon's human heir as important enough to gather intelligence about. Ashvera studied the evidence carefully when they returned to Pyros 4. We knew this day would come. The galaxy has noticed our unusual heir. Some will be curious. Others will be threatened. What do we do? Kai asked. We prepare. The Galactic Council will want to meet you eventually. When that time comes, you must represent not just yourself, but our entire species. The ancient dragon's eyes were serious. Are you ready for that responsibility? Kai thought about Whisper, about all the refugees who had been scared until they saw a human working with dragons, about how different species could work together when they tried. I do not know if I am ready, Kai said honestly, but I will do my best. Ashvera nodded. That is all anyone can ask. Rest now, young heir. Greater challenges await us all. In the shadows of the council chambers, Granite watched and listened. He saw how the other dragons looked at Kai now, with respect and trust. The human was changing their culture, whether Granite liked it or not. The old gray dragon made a decision. If he could not stop this transformation from within, perhaps he needed allies from outside. The galaxy was vast, and not everyone would welcome a human-dragon alliance. Granite began composing a secret message, one that would reach ears both curious and hostile about the unusual heir to the Dragon Empire. Unity Station hung in space like a small moon, vast enough to house representatives from 300 species. Kai pressed against the viewport of the Dragon transport ship, watching the structure grow larger as they approached. It is beautiful, Kai whispered. Crimson stood beside his young charge, equally awed despite himself. Every species in the Galactic Council maintains quarters here. This is where wars are prevented and alliances are formed. Ashvera approached from behind, and where we must convince them that our choice of heir is legitimate. Be prepared, Kai. Many will challenge your right to represent dragons. The docking procedure took hours. When they finally entered Unity Station proper, Kai saw more species in one place than ever before. Tall crystalline beings glided past squat, armored creatures. Energy beings flickered alongside biological entities. Every imaginable form of life gathered here. Dragons drew stares wherever they moved. Their size and reputation preceded them. Most species gave them wide berth, respect mixed with fear. But Kai noticed something else, curiosity. Many aliens stared at the small human walking among dragons. The council chambers were enormous. Kai felt tiny standing before representatives of hundreds of worlds. But then a voice called out that made the child's heart race. That human belongs with us, not with dragons. Kai turned to see a delegation of humans approaching. They wore the insignia of the surviving Earth colonies. The speaker was a tall woman with gray hair and sharp eyes. Ambassador Reed, Ashvareth said formally. We did not expect opposition from Kai's own species. Reed ignored the dragon, focusing on Kai. Child, do you even remember being human? Do you know what they took from you? They saved me, Kai replied quietly. The dragons found me drifting in space. They gave me life and purpose. They stole your heritage. You should be with your own kind, learning human culture, not serving as some alien's pet project. Crimson growled, but Kai placed a hand on his scaled leg. The dragon fell silent. I am not a pet, Kai said firmly. I am heir to the Dragon Empire by choice and merit. They are my family. The Galactic Council chairman intervened. The Thought Weaver was an ancient being, its form shifting between states of matter. Its voice echoed in everyone's mind. This dispute requires resolution. We propose 3 trials. Kai must prove worthy by galactic standards, not merely dragon tradition. First trial begins tomorrow. That night, Kai met with Ambassador Reed privately. The human leader's expression softened slightly when they were alone. I do not hate you, child. I fear for you. Do you understand how rare humans are now? We number in the millions, not billions. Every human life is precious. I know, Kai said, but I can help both species. Dragons and humans working together could be powerful. Reed studied the child carefully. Perhaps, or perhaps you will belong to neither world, caught between both. That is a lonely place to be. The first trial arrived swiftly. 2 species brought their dispute before the council. The builders, an insectoid hive mind, and the solitary, energy beings who valued extreme individualism. Both claimed the same planetary system. The builders needed it for their colonies, working in perfect coordination. The solitary required isolation, each individual needing space away from others. Solve this, the chairman told Kai. Show us your wisdom. Dragon philosophy said establish hierarchy. Let the strongest claim the territory. But Kai had learned human flexibility. The system has 7 planets, Kai began. The builders need only 3 for their colonies. The solitary requires space, not specific worlds. Why not divide the system? Builders take inner planets, solitary claim outer regions. Establish neutral zones for trade. Both species get what they truly need. The builders buzzed in their unified voice. This honors our need for closeness while respecting their desire for distance. We accept. The solitary shimmered agreement. A solution we had not considered. The human sees clearly. Granite, watching from the dragon delegation, felt unease grow. The child was too good at this, too skilled at bridging different mindsets. The second trial came without warning. A moon colony reported plague outbreak. Only enough cure existed for half the population. Choose who receives treatment, the chairman commanded. Show us your judgment. Kai felt sick. This was impossible, choosing who lived and who died. I refused the premise of this test. Shocked silence filled the chamber. Explain, the chairman said. Real leadership is not about making impossible choices. It is about refusing to accept that some problems have no solution. Kai turned to the dragon delegation. We have manufacturing capability. We have resources. Then to the humans. Your species has medical knowledge we could use. You're asking species to cooperate. Reed said skeptically. I am saying that together we can mass produce the cure. Save everyone, not half. Is that not better than choosing who dies? The chairman seemed amused. This is not standard procedure. Standard procedure accepts death when we could prevent it. That is wrong. Other species began to murmur. Some called it cheating the test, but others saw the wisdom. Within hours, a coalition formed. Dragons provided materials, humans offered medical expertise, other species contributed what they could. The cure was produced in time. Every colonist survived, but not everyone was pleased. Some council members felt manipulated. A faction formed, species who feared human-dragon alliance becoming too powerful. Granite met with them secretly. You see now why this human heir is dangerous. They change our nature, make us weak with compassion. A reptilian delegate named Scorn agreed. Dragons were predictable before. Strong, honorable, but rigid. This human makes them flexible, harder to anticipate. That threatens our interests. What do you propose? Granite asked. The final trial will be combat simulation. We ensure it is designed to make the human fail spectacularly. Public humiliation will end this experiment. Granite hesitated. He genuinely believed he was protecting dragon culture. But was sabotage honorable? Before he could decide, Scorn continued. We have already made arrangements. The simulation will malfunction, becoming actually dangerous. If the human is injured, even killed, it proves they were never worthy. That is murder, Granite said slowly. That is natural selection. The strong survive. Is that not the dragon way? Granite left the meeting deeply troubled. He had wanted to preserve tradition, not harm a child. But he had already sent messages, already made alliances with those who had darker intentions. Meanwhile, Kai spent time with Ambassador Reed, learning about human history. Earth's past, the colonies, would have been lost when humanity scattered across the stars. Your parents were on the colony ship Wanderer, Reed explained gently. We found records. They were scientists, researchers. They would have been proud of what you have become. Kai felt tears forming. I wish I remembered them. You carry them forward in how you solve problems, how you care about others. That is the best way to honor their memory. The final trial was announced. Kai would command a mixed-species fleet in combat simulation against overwhelming odds. Success seemed impossible. Crimson pulled Kai aside. I heard rumors. Some species want you to fail. Be careful tomorrow. I will do my best, Kai promised. That is all I can do. That night, Kai barely slept. Tomorrow would determine everything. The future of dragon-human cooperation, perhaps even galactic peace. Unknown to the child, Granite wrestled with his conscience in another part of Unity Station. He had set events in motion that might kill an innocent. Was tradition worth that price? As artificial dawn broke over Unity Station, beings from across the galaxy gathered to watch. Some hope for Kai's success. Others waited eagerly for failure. The final trial was about to begin. Kai stood in the simulation chamber while thousands watched from observation galleries. The chamber was massive, filled with holographic displays showing 12 ships under the child's command. Each vessel represented a different species, each with unique capabilities and cultural approaches to warfare. The enemy fleet appeared on screens, a simulation of the historic Ravager invasion that had devastated 3 systems centuries ago. In the original battle, defenders lost completely. This scenario was designed to be unwinnable. The chairman's voice echoed through the chamber. You have 6 hours to achieve victory or negotiate acceptable survival. Begin. Kai's hands moved across the command console, pulling up information on each ship under command. The builder vessel moved in perfect formation. The solitary ship operated alone, refusing close coordination. Dragon fighters relied on aggressive assault. Human frigates favored tactical flexibility. Getting them to work together seemed impossible. The enemy simulation attacked immediately. Kai's fleet scattered, each species following their own tactical doctrine. Within minutes, 2 ships showed critical damage on the displays in the observation gallery. Granite watched with growing horror. He had learned the truth just this morning. Scorn's faction had not just made the test harder. They had sabotaged the safety protocols. If ships showed critical damage in the simulation, real explosions would occur in the chamber. Kai was in actual danger. Granite had tried to stop it, but the sabotage was already in place. Now he could only watch and pray the child survived. Kai saw the fleet falling apart and made a decision. Stop trying to command like a dragon. Start thinking like a human. All ships, cease current engagement, Kai ordered. Fall back to Rally Point Gamma. Retreat. The dragon commander sounded offended. We do not flee. We regroup, Kai corrected. Please trust me. During the brief respite, Kai contacted each ship individually. Not commands, but questions. Builder ship, what are your strengths? Perfect coordination and formation flying. Solitary vessel, what do you do best? Solo reconnaissance and unpredictable strikes. Dragon fighters, your advantage? Raw power and fearless assault. Kai saw it now, the pattern others had missed. Each species had strengths. The original defenders failed because they try to make everyone fight the same way. New strategy, Kai announced. We use what makes each of us special. The human assigned roles that matched abilities. Builders formed defensive screens with their coordination. Solitary ships conducted raids from unexpected angles. Dragons became a hammer that struck where intelligence revealed weakness. The enemy simulation adapted, but now Kai's fleet moved with purpose. Different species, different methods, but unified strategy. Then Kai noticed something in the enemy patterns. They were too perfect, following exactly what happened in the historical battle. The child accessed historical records during a brief lull. They are repeating history, Kai muttered. But what if we do not? In the original battle, defenders protected their supply depot at all costs. The enemy knew this and exploited it. But Kai saw another option. All ships abandon the supply depot. Let them take it. That is our lifeline. A captain protested. It is a trap we set for ourselves. Look at the enemy formation. They're moving to cut us off from supplies. What if we are not there? Kai repositioned the fleet, using the depot as bait. When enemy forces committed to capturing it, they exposed their flanks. Now, Kai commanded, dragon fighters full assault on their left flank. Solitary ships hit their command vessel from above. Builders shield our advance. The coordinated strike devastated the enemy simulation. For the first time in the scenario, defenders gained advantage, but success triggered the sabotage. Explosions rocked the simulation chamber. Real fire, real danger. The holographic displays flickered and died. Smoke filled the air. Kai realized immediately what was happening. This is not part of the simulation. Everyone evacuate. But the chamber doors were sealed, another part of the sabotage. They were trapped with fire spreading rapidly in the observation gallery. Panic erupted. Crimson roared and smashed through the reinforced glass, diving toward the chamber below. Other dragons followed, trying to reach Kai. Inside the chamber, Kai forced down panic. Think, use what humans do best. Adapt. The child ran to the environmental controls. The same human technology from Station Gamma 7 was present here too. Someone had tried to lock Kai out, but they had not expected a human to know the old override codes. Kai's fingers flew across the interface, accessing emergency systems. Fire suppression activated, but not normally. Instead of flooding the whole chamber, Kai directed foam only where fire burned, leaving breathing space. Then the child opened specific vents, creating air currents that pushed smoke toward filtration systems. Within seconds, visibility improved. Everyone move to the west wall. Kai scouted. The structure is strongest there. The crews from the various ships followed the humans' commands without question. They had learned to trust Kai's judgment. Crimson crashed through the chamber ceiling, followed by other dragon warriors. They began evacuating people immediately. Security teams arrived, finally overriding the door locks. The evacuation completed with no casualties, though several people needed treatment for smoke inhalation. Investigation teams swarmed the chamber. What they found confirmed sabotage. Someone had deliberately tried to harm Kai. The Galactic Council convened an emergency session. Evidence pointed to multiple conspirators across different species. Scorn was arrested immediately. His interrogation revealed others, including the fact that Granite had known about the plot. The old gray dragon was brought before the council in chains. His shame visible, Ashvera addressed him with deep disappointment. You sought to preserve our honor through murder. There is no honor in that. But before judgment could be pronounced, Kai spoke up. Wait, Granite was wrong, but I understand his fear. Change is frightening. He saw his culture being transformed and thought he was protecting it. He nearly killed you, Crimson growled, but he did not. At the end, he tried to stop it. Kai had learned this from investigators. Granite warned security teams, tried to disable the sabotage when he realized how far it had gone. He made terrible choices, but he tried to fix them. Kai approached Granite. You trained me in dragon history. You taught me about honor and tradition. Those lessons mattered. I am sorry I made you feel your way of life was threatened. The old dragon's eyes filled with shame and surprise. You defend me after I betrayed you? I defend the truth. You were wrong, but you're not evil. You were scared. I've been scared too. Ashvara watched this exchange with wonder. The human child showed mercy when justice demanded punishment. This was leadership beyond what any dragon could teach. The council debated Granite's fate. Some demanded execution. Others argued for exile. Finally, Ashvara proposed alternative punishment. Granite will spend the next decade teaching young dragons and other species about the cost of prejudice. He will serve as example of how fear can corrupt honor. It was agreed. Granite would face his shame every day, helping others avoid his mistakes. The chairman addressed the gathered council. We have seen enough. The trials are complete. Kai has demonstrated wisdom, courage, and mercy. The human heir is legitimate. Applause erupted from many species. Not all agreed, but most recognized what they had witnessed. Ambassador Reed approached Kai afterward. You could have demanded Granite's death. Why show mercy? Because punishment without redemption serves no purpose. We need him to be better, not dead. Reed smiled. Perhaps you were right. Perhaps a human raised by dragons is exactly what the galaxy needs. The formal ceremony took place in Unity Station's Grand Hall. Representatives from every council species attended, along with delegations from dozens more worlds. This was history being made, and everyone wanted to witness it. Kai wore robes that combined dragon tradition with human design. Crimson stood as honor guard, his red scales polished until they gleamed. Ashvara waited at the center of the hall, ancient and magnificent. The chairman spoke first, its telepathic voice reaching every mind present. Today we recognize Kai as legitimate heir to the Dragon Empire. More than that, we establish a new position. Kai will serve as bridge ambassador, working to unite species rather than divide them. Ambassador Reed stepped forward, carrying a small container. These are records from Earth, from the human colonies, from the ship Wanderer, where you began. Your heritage, preserved so you never forget where you came from. Kai accepted the gift with trembling hands. Thank you. I will honor both my birth species and my adopted family. Ashvara began the dragon rite of succession. It was conducted in the old language, words that predated galactic civilization. Kai had learned them perfectly over the years. Do you swear to protect the weak? I swear. Do you promise to seek wisdom before war? I promise. Will you honor our past while building our future? I will. The ancient dragon placed one claw on Kai's head. Then I name you heir, not of blood, but of spirit. You carry our fire forward. Flare and other young dragons roared approval. Even some of Granite's former faction joined the celebration. The old gray dragon watched from the back, his expression unreadable but not hostile. After the ceremony, Kai found time alone with Crimson. The massive red dragon had been constant guardian for years. Are you proud? Kai asked quietly, beyond measure, but also worried. You have a difficult path ahead, little one. I know. Some species will always doubt. Some dragons will never fully accept me. And humans will wonder if I remember what it means to be one of them. Crimson lowered his great head until he was eye level with his charge. You are something new. Not dragon, not human, but a bridge between them. That is harder than being either alone, but also more important. Kai hugged the dragon's scaled snout, something that would have been unthinkable when they first met. Now it was natural. Ambassador Reed approached with several human delegates. Kai, we want to offer you something. A place in the human colonies, if you ever wish it. You would always be welcome among your birth species. Thank you, Kai said sincerely. I may take you up on that offer someday. But my home is with the dragons now. That does not mean I forget being human. Reed smiled. I understand. You know, I was angry when I first learned about you. Angry that dragons had taken one of our precious few children. But I see now what you have become. You have done more for human-dragon relations than centuries of diplomacy could achieve. Later, Kai stood with Flare and several other young dragons, watching ships come and go from Unity Station. What happens now? Flare asked. We go home to Pyros 4. I continue training. There is still much to learn. But you're already heir. The trials are complete. Kai laughed. The official trials maybe. But life will keep testing us. The galaxy is complicated. Peace between species is fragile. My work is just beginning. Cole, who had once mocked Kai as the scaleless one, spoke thoughtfully. We learn from you, but you learn from us too. That exchange makes everyone stronger. Exactly, Kai agreed. That is what being a bridge means. Granite found Kai before the dragons departed Unity Station. The old dragon looked smaller somehow, humbled by recent events. I owe you apology, Granite said stiffly. I'll let fear make me cruel. You showed mercy I did not deserve. Everyone deserves a chance to be better, Kai replied. You taught me about dragon honor. Now I hope you will teach others about the cost of prejudice, like HFY suggested. It is fitting punishment. Every day I must face my shame and help younglings avoid my mistakes. Granite paused. May I ask you something? Of course. Do you forgive me? Kai considered the question carefully. I forgive the fear that drove you. I forgive the mistakes you made trying to protect what you love. But forgiveness does not erase consequences. You must still do the work to make things right. The old dragon nodded slowly. Wise words. You truly have become worthy heir. The journey back to Pyro's 4 was peaceful. Kai spent time with each dragon, strengthening bonds and learning more about their individual hopes and concerns. Silverscale checked on the child's health, amazed at how much Kai had grown. You are not the scared youngling we found in that cryopod anymore. No, Kai agreed, but I still remember being that child, alone and adrift. That memory helps me understand others who feel lost. When they arrived home, the crystal caverns were filled with celebration. Young dragons wanted to hear every detail of the trials. Kai told the stories, making sure to credit everyone who helped along the way. HFY watched from her seat of honor, her ancient eyes warm with pride. She had taken a terrible risk years ago, choosing to raise an alien child. That risk had transformed their entire civilization. That night, Kai stood alone at the edge of the volcanic cliffs, watching Pyro's, IV's twin suns set. The sky turned brilliant shades of orange and red, colors that felt like home. Crimson joined the vigil silently, settling his bulk beside his charge. Do you ever wonder what your life would have been like, the dragon asked, if the Wanderer had not been destroyed? If you had grown up among humans? Sometimes, Kai admitted, but I cannot regret this path. The dragons saved me, raised me, taught me. And maybe, just maybe, I helped them too. You did more than help. You changed us, made us better. Kai smiled. We made each other better. That is what family does. In the distance, young dragons played in the thermal vents, their laughter echoing across the volcanic landscape. Some of them were learning human games Kai had taught them. Others practiced traditional dragon arts with new techniques the human had suggested. Two cultures blending. Not one consuming the other, but both becoming richer for the exchange. Kai thought about the future. There would be challenges ahead. Some species would always mistrust the dragon-human alliance. Political tensions would arise. Difficult decisions awaited. But standing there on the cliffs of Pyro's 4, watching the twin suns paint the sky in fire, Kai felt ready. Not because of dragon strength or human cleverness alone, but because of everything learned from both. The child of two worlds, heir to an empire, bridge between species. Not perfect, but trying. Not fearless, but brave anyway. Not all-knowing, but always learning. Kai turned to Crimson. Ready to go home? The dragon chuckled, smoke drifting from his nostrils. We are home. And they were. Not the home Kai was born to, but the home that was built together. A family forged not by blood or species, but by choice and love and the courage to believe that different could be better. Together, the dragon and the human walked back toward the crystal caverns, where their family waited, where their future was being written one day at a time. Behind them, the twin suns completed their descent. Ahead, the first stars began to appear in the darkening sky, each one a world, a possibility, a chance for understanding between different forms of life. Kai had been found drifting among those stars, a mystery wrapped in tragedy. Now Kai walked among them as heir and ambassador, carrying hope that even the most unlikely connections could change everything. The galaxy was vast and complicated and often difficult. but it was also beautiful and full of possibility. And somewhere in it, there was always room for a small human who had learned to fly without wings, to breathe fire without burning, and to bridge worlds without losing themselves. That was Kai's gift to the dragons and the dragons' gift to Kai. Not changing who they were, but discovering together who they could become. The story was not ending. It was just beginning.